Welcome. This is From Beyond the Pain, an Illinois basketball podcast. I'm Cody. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Cody_CHGO. As you can see on this banner below, Illinois wins 86-63. They sweep the season series against Rutgers. Sorry, I'm like an hour late. I wanted to see if Terrence Shannon Jr. was going to talk after this game, and for some reason, he did not. For some reason, they were like, "Nah, we want to listen to, we want to provide Justin Harmon and Quincy Guerrier, and then let Brad Underwood do his normal presser as well." Maybe some TSJ quotes will come out after I do this, but I got tired of waiting. I thought obviously he would be at the podium after this game. And for some reason he wasn't. So I don't know how that process goes because I'm not a credentialed reporter. But anyway, I just wanted to wait until that perhaps might have happened because I would have been pissed off if I had started the show and missed all the quotes from Terrence Shannon Jr. But turns out didn't get any, at least at this point. So I will keep an eye out for that. But let's just go ahead and start with post-game reactions. I'd love to know what you guys' thoughts are. This was the kind of win that I hoped Illinois would have given us last week. This was the kind of win Illinois needed last Sunday. All right. Now, I'll admit, I think Maryland is better than Rutgers. Rutgers is for sure right there near the bottom of the Big Ten with Michigan. But again, you got to win the games that are on your schedule. And if you plan on winning the Big Ten, you need to win games like this, right? So Illinois took care of business today, an emotional day, perhaps, a much anticipated day. They pretty much dominated this game from start to finish. I think the first 7 minutes of the second half, Illinois they got out of sorts. They turned the ball over. They allowed Rutgers to get out in transition. Amori really was the only guy that was hurting us down low. And when I say us, I say Illinois. I hate when I use we or us. So I'll try and catch myself on that. But yeah, I think Illinois, they win by 23. They easily could have won by 30 or more today. They just couldn't make any threes. Thought they turned the ball over a little too much, even though they did win the turnover margin. They went 6 for 27 from three. And I remember at the end of the first half, Illinois shot 3 for 14, and they were up by 12, 13, 14 points, double digits. I felt like the way that they played in the first half, they easily could have been up by 20 or more, but they just weren't. And because they couldn't make any threes and they had a few turnovers that kind of hurt them. Obviously, the very end of the first half, Illinois was set up to shoot or take the last shot, and Damask turned it over, and it led to a layup at the buzzer for Rutgers to, make it a 12-point game instead of 14, whatever. Obviously, not the biggest deal in the world. It's just there were some moments like that where you're like, man, we should be winning by more in this game. And I said we again. I caught myself there. They should be up by more than this, and they didn't shoot it great, even though they finished the game shooting 50%. It was all because of the huge second half that Terrence Shannon Jr. had. I thought as a team they all shot better in the second half as well. Again, they were 3 or 14 from three in the first half. Then for the game, end up going 6 for 27. They would have won by more too if they had made their free throws. 16 for 27. This is probably one of the worst free throw shooting games for them. And in the last month and a half, this is like November Illinois at the free throw line right now in this game. So they need to get back on track against Northwestern at the free throw line. If they shoot 16 for 27 at the free throw line against Northwestern, it's going to be a close game. And if they lose, we'll sit here and we'll be thinking about missed free throws, right? So if there's anything for me to really complain about in this game, it's definitely the fact that they missed free throws. Again, you miss 11 of them, and Dane Danger didn't shoot any of them. All right. So overall, pretty content with how Illinois, went back home and took care of business. This is the game that they gave us was basically kind of what I wanted in terms of just a lazy Sunday, not really stressed at all, not really, you know, worried. I really wasn't. Those first 7-8 minutes of the second half, it kind of gave me the same vibes from Maryland in the early second half. But uh, Terrence Shannon Jr. decided that he's going to get his offensive game going, and they went on a 22-5 run, and Illinois retook control of the game. And again, they went 86-63. Big win for Illinois after going on the road to Michigan and winning, and now they've won 2 straight. Got a couple days of practice before they go and face Northwestern on Wednesday in what I will imagine will be a very mixed crowd. I'm intrigued to see how the reaction Terrence Shannon Jr. gets in Evanston, but we'll get there when we get there. I had a buddy, shout out to my guy, Steve Mork. He sent me a text saying the crowd in Champaign when Terrence Shannon Jr. Checked into the game was like 90-10. So more than half the crowd cheered for him. And then there is, a small portion that I guess I don't know what the 10 means. Like, did they boo? Did they not do anything? Like, was it not as loud as you expected? I don't know. But either way, I pretty much thought the reaction he got was going to happen. I think we all knew that was going to happen. I think anyone that is surprised by it or, I don't know, like disappointed, I'm not going to tell people how to fan. I'm not going to tell people how to treat the situation, but like, I will say that anyone who's going to stand on their some moral height saying that like they wouldn't do this or they wouldn't do that, I'm just being honest with you. Like, I would love to know the teams that you like outside of whatever team that you like. And I would love to know the scandals that those teams have had. And I would love to know your thoughts on some of those. So I'm not saying that you should cheer for Terrence Shannon Jr., but I'm telling you, if you come at me and tell me that I'm a disgusting person because I'm cheering for Illinois, I'm gonna tell you to go fuck yourself. I mean, just point blank and simple. I'm gonna go tell you to go fuck yourself. All right. I have been, as I've said in these reaction podcasts related to the situation, I think I've been very fair. I think I've been very down the middle. I think I haven't said anything that would be over the top into, I guess, being unsensitive. The only thing that I guess you could maybe argue against that is that I said that I lean that he is innocent. But that is based off the information that we've been given. I have not said that, some outlandish shit to denounce any of these accusations. So, again, that's just how I feel. And again, I don't think anyone should be holding other people against them, holding anything against other Illini fans for cheering on Illinois. I mean, it's sports. I don't know what else. What else do you guys? What do you want? Am I supposed to boycott the team now? Like, I don't. That's not going to happen. I'm sorry. And I'm not. And even if I did, it ain't going to do anything. I promise you, it ain't going to do anything. So, anyway, that's my spiel on that, because I've had to deal with some backlash the last couple of days for, I don't even know why. Like, I've gave my side pretty clear on both sides. I've given my thoughts on both sides and how I don't want Illinois to have this mantra of them against the world. I don't want, I didn't want Brad Underwood or anyone to, really comment on the entire situation, and they haven't. All they've said is things related to him in basketball, and that's fine with me. And so this is going to come down to the courts and the university and him, of course. And whenever those days come, they will come. But and the only reason I really truly bring all this up is because the Big Ten Network Twitter account tweeted like the video of him coming in to the game with like at the 17-minute mark in the first half. And of course, he got the standing ovation, which no one should be surprised by. No one. And like all the people in the comments were like, they were disgusting. And it's like, bruh, like, Illinois is not the first school to go through something like this. Like just keep it real with the rest of us, right? Like they are not the first school that has had to go through something like this. Brandon Miller from Alabama last year. I mean, that guy got accused of basically killing someone. And you know what? There were still Twitter accounts that tweeted about it, tweeted him playing all this stuff. And it's just like, there's just no way that people are going to at least look at this from a logical stance. It's just like you're either for him or against him. And to me, in some aspects, it's just sad because, again, he hasn't been convicted of anything and he hasn't been charged with it. There has not been anything against him. And with everything that we know, this, like, I don't know how we can jump to these conclusions at this point. So, again, as I've said, I have remained as sensitive as possible to the entire situation. So, if I'm still bothering you, then I don't even know why you're still here, bro. So, anyway, and I bring a lot of this up because this was the thought. Like a lot of what I'm saying was like, how would the crowd react? How would people on social media react? Blah, blah, blah. And how, I guess, hell, I was even trying to tap into like what Robbie Hummel and the other play-by-play announcer, who I forgot who it was, how they would, I guess, describe Terrence Shannon Jr. during this process. And honestly, like they did as good a job as they could have during that game. I think Robbie Hummel was one of the best college basketball color commentators in the sport, undoubtedly. There's no arguing. I love when it's him and Jason Benetti, when they're the ones calling the game. It is elite broadcasting in college basketball. Sorry, Jim Nance in March. But anyway, I think moving forward, we've got a little bit of a taste of how the home crowd's going to be, and obviously it's going to be completely different on the road, and we'll get there when we get there. But I think as far as from a basketball perspective, this was like a scrimmage today because Illinois, obviously, they needed him to get some miles on the legs, right? Brad Underwood said post game that he was tired pretty early, and he looked pretty rusty in the first half, right? He finishes the game 4 of 10. He was 8 of 10 from the free throw line, 16 points, 4 assists, 1 rebound, and he went 0 of 5 from 3. So, and that was in 28 minutes. For a game where you're rusty, for him to, have that stat line, shows how good of a player he is. But, he did not have the shot going, but when he got out in transition, you saw the value that he brought to Illinois. He gets the ball at half court and he is at the rim in a matter of seconds. He's, again, 10 free throw attempts tonight, says something. All right. When he gets going downhill and transition, it just puts so much pressure on the defense. It gets them in foul trouble. There was a guy for Rutgers today. I think, Fernandez had 5 fouls. He had 10 points, 4-7 from the field, had 5 fouls fouled out. He kind of made an impact on the game for Rutgers in that comeback in the second half, but he couldn't stay on the court. Only 18 minutes. So they had 19 fouls in general. Foul discrepancy is not too much different. Illinois had 12. But anyway, he puts a lot of pressure on the opposing defense, and especially whenever he's going to the basket in transition. And, Brad Underwood said in the post or in the press conference he did yesterday, talking about like how they're going to use him and stuff. And, he openly said, we don't run a lot of plays to him. A lot of what he does is in transition. And he's right. Like, that's why it's so key for Illinois' defense to be, especially when they play a good team, they need to bring that defensive intensity that they pretty much have brought all season. And, whenever they do that and he gets in transition, it just, again, it puts a lot of pressure on the opposing defense. And so, you get those free throw attempts, you're able to create offense in different ways. So, yeah, the first half, he looked pretty rusty to me. He ended up having, what? I thought he had more than one turnover, but in the stat sheet, he has one. Some missed shots, obviously. I thought as soon as he came in the game, he gets the alley-oop to Coleman Hawkins, and then he was in transition the very next time down the court, and he had another nice pass. So even though his shot wasn't hitting, he was being a playmaker. And I mean, he does more than just score. Obviously, his defense on the other end is makes a huge impact as well. I think once this team gets back to, I would say the peak with the roster at full was probably against Florida Atlantic at Madison Square Garden. They scored 97 points. They were great against Mizzou as well. Mizzou not nearly as good as Florida Atlantic in my opinion. So, I think that the offense was at its peak probably in those two games, at least with him in it. Once he gets under his feet, gets the miles, gets reacclimated to the offense, I think that they can be one of the better offenses in the country. And for a game where that felt like a scrimmage, that felt like they were trying to, transition him back into the offense, for them to still shoot 50%, even though they didn't shoot well from three, they got to the rim at will. They dominated the rebounding game today, 46-32. I mean, when you don't shoot the three well, but you're able to score as many points in the paint as they did, at the end of the day, it might not even matter. So, what was the points in the paint? They won 50-32 on points in the paint. So, and I'm saying all these good things, but I'm not dumb. Like, I know it's Rutgers. Rutgers isn't very good, but this would have been it would have been a little bit more of a pressing feeling, I think, if they were playing Northwestern today instead, especially on the road. So to me, the timing couldn't have been better for them to play this game at home with all this news that just came out. So I expect there to be some more bumps along the way for the next, I'd say, another 4 or 5 games. But I think by the time they get into February, if everyone stays healthy on this squad, I think they'll really start to gel the way that we think they can. So that's really all I have on Terrence Shannon Jr. He was, again, couldn't make any shots, but he was aggressive. He got to the free throw line. And you saw how good this team can be with him on the court. So other guys that I was really happy to see perform the way they did, Justin Harmon. Justin Harmon is really, whenever Shannon got suspended, he really took full advantage of the opportunity to be like that 4th or 5th option after Guerrier, Hawkins, and Damask off the bench. And Terrence Shannon Jr. returns today, and he still puts up 18 points and 8 rebounds. He shot 8 of 13 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3. He had, again, 8 rebounds. He even had a block. I think it was in transition too. Block from behind. A guy trying to, I think he went up for a dunk. But in 29 minutes, 18 points. Again, it's really solid for, at this point, your 5th or 6th option off the bench. Like, he's been really good since mid-December. He was bad against Maryland, and I believe he really probably wasn't very good against Purdue as well. But now with Shannon back in the mix, there's not as much pressure on him to have a huge game, and he just kind of went through the flow of the offense, and he made an impact in his way. Again, 2 of 5 from 3. He made 2 of the 6 threes they made today. I just thought he was phenomenal, and Brad Underwood said nothing but great things about him today. He said that he was just sensational, and I would agree. He was sensational. As far as other guys, Quincy Guerrier was another guy who went off today. Back-to-back double-doubles for him. He had 14 rebounds against Michigan. Today, 11 rebounds, 15 points, 5 of 8 from the field. He went 2 of 3 from 3. I think both threes from the corner. And he would have had 20 points if he just would have made all his free throws, went 3 of 8 from the free throw line. So hopefully he cleans that up. But another strong game from Quincy Guerrier, who has been a really, it's kind of the same with Coleman Hawkins, defensively and offensively, just very versatile. When those two guys are both playing well, this team is really dangerous. So I really liked what we saw at him. And, speaking of Coleman Hawkins, he just continues to be one of the best defensive players, not only in this conference, but in all of college basketball. Against Michigan, 6 steals. He follows that up with 5 more steals today. 9 rebounds to go with his 4 assists, 12 points. 1 of 7 from 3. Again, no one shot well from 3, but he made an impact defensively. He's so versatile. The only thing that can really hurt him defensively, and I think we saw it a lot from when they played Michigan towards the end when the game was pretty much over, and it made me wonder why Michigan didn't go to Reed a lot more early in the game, because he's just significantly bigger than Coleman Hawkins, and Illinois didn't bring the double team, is whenever you got a guy like Amori for Rutgers, who again had 22 points. It's when he has to go up against these significantly bigger dudes, it's just going to be tough. Now, the only time that I feel like Illinois has brought the double team on the 5-man that he is guarding is whenever they played Purdue against Zach Edey. And so I think that they're willing to let him try and guard guys one-on-one going forward, except for a guy like Zach Edey. So I think he's done as good as he possibly could. And with the way that they play, sometimes those big men that I've mentioned, it kind of takes them out of the game just because the game can move so fast. But, Rutgers, that run that they had in that second half, Amori was a big part of it. And, he's clearly the best player on Rutgers, in my opinion. So, he finds a way to make an impact. He's one of the better defensive big men in the Big Ten as well. The guy's no joke. He's been annoying me for the last, 2 years now. So, yeah, let's get to some of these comments. Riley, he sent this. I've been looking at this comment for the last hour. He said Shannon was definitely rusty shooting, but he definitely impacted that game. Yeah, I thought defensively and in transition, no doubt. Matt Painter's second chin is here. Welcome, man. I'm worried about chemistry with TSJ, with Terrence Shannon Jr. back. You would say that, Purdue fan. Wisconsin is pretty clean, so is Purdue. Yes. I get what you're saying, but I'm there are plenty of other schools, and I'm not even just talking about college programs. I'm talking about professional sports as well. Okay, Matt Painter, second gen. If Jeffrey Epstein was a bucket and committed to Illinois, would you still root for the Illini? I'm not going to answer that question. That's a dumb fucking question. K Ducey, what a name. From Twitter says Harmon is way more athletic than we ever thought. That block and 1 rebound he had, that block and 1 rebound he had blew my mind. Oh yeah. He was. I think Brad Underwood said something along the lines of, what did he say? Something about how the way he drives to the basket. I can't remember exactly what he said, but again, he just said he was sensational. And again, I do think he's underrated as an athlete. Definitely, sometimes some of the drives he has to the basket, you're like, how did he do that? and it just kind of opens your eyes a little bit about how good of an actual athlete he is. But he's not big and tall like a guard like Terrence Shannon Jr. So, it is what it is. So, yeah, if he continues to play like this or even half of the way that he played today, it's clutch. It will be huge for them down the stretch. So, I haven't mentioned this. We're about 25 minutes in. If you're new here, please hit the like button. It helps other Illini fans find the podcast. If you've been here before, thanks for joining. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. I am like 7 subscribers away from 300, and I'm trying to hit 300 before the end of January. So I appreciate it if you guys, if you're new here again, to hit that subscribe button. If you're watching on Twitter or Twitter or my Facebook page, please come to the YouTube channel. Let's just search my name. You'll find it pretty easily. So I appreciate the small handful of people we got watching right now. I know the Lions and Buccaneers are playing, and who doesn't like football, right? I'm honestly I'm a little annoyed that I'm missing the game right now, but big of me to be here. So anyway. I guess we can go ahead and talk a little bit about some of Brad Underwood's post game, and whatnot. Again, he talked a lot about Justin Harmon, but his one quote about Terrence Shannon Jr., one of his few quotes. This is about the team. He said, "This team has done an incredible job of staying in the moment and what's truly important. It hasn't been the outside noise and other people. It's what makes this team really, really special is their ability to focus on the next game and winning games." He did use the term connected again for like the 1,000th time today. I think we're gonna be able to buy into some of this. Not that I haven't bought into it, but I think we'll buy into it a little bit more if they go to Northwestern and get a road win with all the stuff that's happened. Because to me, it's things are different now with Shannon back. It's completely different, and Matt Painter's second chin in the chat is trolling me or whatever, but he is right. Like it is the team, the chemistry, perhaps. Like, am I worried? Not yet. But if things don't go well, especially on the road, then yeah, I'm going to be a little worried, right? But I don't have there's no evidence to show that yet. This guy's just coming into my YouTube chat and, giving me shit. That's basically it. But I'm just saying, though, if they go on the road and things don't go well, not just once but multiple times, then it is something that I will worry about. So again, BU has been very adamant about how connected this team is, how together they are. It's all the things that I want to hear from the coach, no doubt. But it is also at the same time, you could say it's just coach talk, right? How many freaking coaches say the same shit about their teams? So it is a little bit of take it with a grain of salt. And that's kind of where I'm at. I just want to see this team play on the road. And even if they do lose, if it's close, if they play well but fall, like I just want to see how this team goes through adversity together during what now is something that none of them have ever gone through, right? With how this team is set up. So Caitlin from YouTube says, I'm just a bit worried about the hostile road environments because fans are going to be saying a lot of rotten things. Yeah. I think that's something that all Illini fans are probably feeling. And listen, like I kind of said this, in my little spiel about people in the overreact. Well, maybe not necessarily overreactions, but just like the way that they're reacting to this situation. it's that they're holding themselves to a higher standard as if they've never cheered for whatever other team that probably has some sort of scandal, right? I'll use Chicago as an example. I'm not really a Blackhawks fan, but Patrick Kane was accused of like the same thing basically, and people treat him like a legend now. He got out of it, right? But through that entire process, Blackhawks fans didn't change their tone, right? Brandon Marshall got for the Bears the whole thing with his like wife, domestic violence or whatever it was. His exit on the way out of Chicago wasn't exactly great, but I think most people no one really changed their perspective, right? I'm a Cubs guy. The whole Addison Russell thing was fucking annoying. Honestly, the Cubs should have moved on from him way earlier. And they kind of made it, to me, they made it worse. They tried to spin it as they were trying to take control of the situation and try to be a service to him and his now ex-wife. Whatever, people are going to look at it one way or another. That's a lot different because Addison Russell was he was part of the 2016 Cubs that won the World Series. He had like 1.5 good years in the majors, and then after 2016, he just wasn't very good outside of playing defense. So he wasn't even good enough to stay in the league. He hasn't been in the league for like 4 years. So like I have gone through it, and I will say that it was easier to root against Addison Russell after that entire situation because he just wasn't good at his sport. But at the same time, I'm giving you two sides of the pendulum. Like when guys are good, people just seem to shove it to the side, and when the guys aren't good, people seem to just automatically hate the guy. And it's like, I'm not telling you what you should or shouldn't do. But I am saying that Illinois is not the first. They will not be the last that has to go through an issue like this. And for anyone who wants to stand on some pedestal and tell me that I can't do this or I can't do this because of like morals, again, you can go fuck yourself, bro. You can go fuck yourself. So I just went on that spiel second time in the last 32 minutes. So again, I'm done, but that's my 2 cents. Anyway, Caitlin, I hope that helps you. You know what I mean? Like in terms of how you look at things. I hope that he is innocent because that means that that no one got raped. That's the thing, is that he has not been convicted. So I am a true believer that you're innocent until proven guilty. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't feel that way. So we live in some really fucked up times. All right. I worked myself all up. I need to calm down. Take a sip of water, Cody. Okay. Now, next up, let's look at the Big Ten standings. Come on. Why? My ESPN app is being weird. Come on. Because I turned my Wi-Fi off on my iPad. Gotta do that, Cody. Okay. Big Ten standings. So obviously Wisconsin's still at the top, 6-1. They're a half game up on Purdue, and now Illinois sits alone in third place because I believe Northwestern lost yesterday. So they're a half game back of Purdue and a game back of Wisconsin at 5-2. So this game on Wednesday is pretty big in terms of if Northwestern wants to stay in this race to win the Big Ten. They're 4-3 right now in conference, 2 games back of Wisconsin. Yeah, I mean, Illinois is in a very, really good spot. And now with Terrence Shannon back, I think there's true belief that perhaps they could win this conference and, maybe do even bigger things after. So, that I think we're starting to see where a lot of these teams are, where they sit. I can't believe that Nebraska is a top 5 team in this conference right now, but they have been impressive. They did not play well. They lost in overtime recently, but then I think they're the ones who beat Northwestern yesterday, right? Isn't that what happened? Let me look it up. I feel like it was Nebraska. Yeah, Northwestern went to Nebraska, lost 75-69 yesterday. Purdue went to Iowa, won on the road 84-70. Iowa freaking stinks. And Ohio State beat Penn State. That was the Big Ten slate yesterday. So, Michigan State barely won at Maryland. They freaking they blew a double-digit lead. Maryland couldn't come back and make the could not complete the comeback. Tomorrow, Wisconsin, Minnesota. Don't sleep on Minnesota. They've actually been kind of scrappy this year, but I think Wisconsin probably rolls. Ohio State, Nebraska, and then Michigan, Purdue. Purdue at home. Hammer the Boilermakers because Michigan fucking sucks. And then obviously on Wednesday, Illinois and Northwestern and Iowa and Maryland. So those are the upcoming games in the Big Ten. Obviously, I'm rooting for Wisconsin to lose one of these games, this game against Minnesota, but I think they will win. But Minnesota at home, considering how they have played, they've been kind of scrappy. They're 3-4 in conference, right? So they're not the worst team in this conference like we all figured that they would. It's definitely a mixture between Rutgers and Michigan. So anyway. We'll check back in a few days. Again, they play Northwestern and Illinois play on Wednesday. I'm gonna try and get a ticket to go to Northwestern. So if that happens, I won't do the live stream watch along, but we'll probably do post game probably about an hour and a half after when I get home. I'm about 6.5 miles from Evanston, so. Yeah, but it all depends if I find a ticket, and I don't know if I'll be able to, and I'm not trying to pay a ton of money, and Northwestern always raises the prices for every time Illinois comes to town, and they probably will now even more because Terrence Shannon's storyline. So it is what it is. But yeah, we'll do a preview show on Tuesday, and we will do post-game Wednesday after the game. Most likely. If I do not go to this game, I will do the watch along Wednesday night. So I appreciate y'all again. Tanya in the chat. Thank you, Tanya. What's up? She says, Packers lose, Illini win. All is right in the world. Absolutely. Absolutely. Nothing was better than watching the Packers lose last night. It is my favorite part of the month of January in which I have lost 13 pounds. Credit to me. I will see y'all on Tuesday for the preview show against Northwestern. I'm thinking I'm going to ask my guy Mark Harmon to come on this podcast. I think I'm going to have to. Or maybe, just maybe my guy Dom Frederick, who I know is a huge Northwestern fan. So give a little preview of both sides, and we'll see what happens. I will not confirm or deny, but yeah. I'm hoping to get one of those two on here if they have the time. So I will see y'all then. Again, hit the like button on your way out of here if you haven't, if you're on YouTube, and hit that subscribe button if you're new here. I appreciate y'all. This has been a lot of fun. And as always, ILL.